We're going to do a healthy vegan fall meal prep today. I'm basically cooking for the week, so I thought I'd bring you along while I make everything from chickpeas from scratch, roasted squashes and potatoes, tofu soup, hummus, homemade pita chips, and of course, a little dessert at the end. It's just a bunch of fall foods you can have ready for the week. I always buy canned beans, but today I want to make them from scratch. I've been talking about doing this and getting in the habit of making beans from scratch. Today I'm going to do that in the Instant Pot, and it's really easy. You just need to look at them and make sure there are no rocks or debris or anything. I'm doing a quick look here. It's better to lay your beans out on a tray so you can do a more thorough check, but these are looking pretty good. Now give them a good rinse. Soaking your beans is optional. It will speed up the cook time, but I'm skipping that today. Add the chickpeas to your pot. I'm using 1 pound of chickpeas to 6 cups of water here. You could make chickpeas on the stove, but the Instant Pot is more of a set it and forget it. So that's what I'm doing today. Set your time shorter if you need firmer chickpeas. I think our chickpeas are done. I cooked these for 55 minutes. I've let it just sit after that for about 10 minutes, what they call a natural release. And then I'm going to go ahead and open the valve here, and shouldn't be much steam there. Hopefully they're really soft because I'm going to use these to make hummus and also Ninja Creami ice creams. Oof. Now let's check the texture. I might even do about 5 more minutes and see what happens there. Oh, they're actually pretty soft. The chickpeas look good. Now we're just going to drain them. You can save the cooking liquid, which is called aqua faba. You can use it in a variety of different ways. You can use it to make a whipped meringue. They're really soft and squishy. They're really gonna blend up nicely. You can also remove the skins if you want to get even creamier. They come off quite easily when they're warm, actually. Let it cool a little bit first. You know what I've heard some people do? They put it in a salad spinner. Skins come right off. Now that these are cooked, I think they just come off so easily. We've got quite a few different kinds of squashes. Kabocha, this one along with the delicata squash. These are both squashes where you can eat the skin. You don't have to worry about peeling them, and all kinds of good nutrients. You can actually eat the skin on the butternut squash as well. If you're blending, you can definitely blend with it because it's not a super thick skin. So that will blend nicely once it's cooked. I'm going to cut up this kabocha squash and I'm going to roast and have it for salads. That's not easy to cut, is it? That was the plan anyway, but I ended up using the squash for something even better. Kabocha squash has lots of nutrients. The seeds are actually edible too. You can just roast them for a healthy, crunchy snack. It's a very dense squash. The first time I had kabocha squash, I made a creamy squash soup that was out of this world. When I saw them back in stock at Trader Joe's a few weeks ago, I did a little happy dance. I was so excited to see them. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of hard to cut this squash. You could probably see me struggling here a little bit. Let's jump to the sliced squash so you don't have to watch me suffer. So when you crumble the parchment paper, it makes it kind of molds to your pan as well and keeps it from, rolling up on the edges. I like to keep my roasted veggies oil-free, so instead of oil, I'm giving these a light mist of maple syrup and water. It helps the edges caramelize. Kabocha squash doesn't have as much water content as some other squashes, so it can dry out pretty quickly. I roasted these at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 minutes, flipping halfway through. They weren't quite soft enough yet. I let them go a few more minutes. I overbaked this batch They came out a little too dry to enjoy as is, but that ended up being a happy accident because I turned the squash into the coziest soup instead. That's what I love about meal prep. Even when something doesn't go perfectly, it usually turns into something else amazing and you can make it work. So I bought a bunch of these Murisaki sweet potatoes. We're going to bake some whole. I want to just cook them up because these can go bad quickly. I like to just keep them in the freezer and then I can take them out whenever I want. And I use these also for Ninja Creami ice cream recipes as well. It's really good. And I love to use these just to eat them. They're so delicious. And I like to also cut them up and roast them. And so we're going to do both of those. Probably going to do that since I'm turning the oven on anyway. I might as well just get a whole bunch of stuff, roast it up in there, and use my freezer and freeze some of these things, and they'll last a long time. And then I have a big one, which I'm going to peel and cut into pieces and roast them that way. And that'll be great for salads and nourish bowls and Buddha bowls, that kind of thing. I'm cutting the sweet potatoes into small cubes. This makes them easy to use in salads and bowls or snacks. These are really sweet and creamy with a nutty, buttery flavor. They're denser and creamier than regular orange sweet potatoes. I think this potato would make for a really delicious sweet potato pie. I might need to try that. What do you think? Should I try that? Make the pieces as uniform as possible, but don't worry too much about it. As you're cooking, you'll be checking them for doneness while baking, and you can remove the ones that are done and let the other ones cook a little longer. I'll put them on a parchment lined tray here, sprayed with my favorite mister. I'll link to that one in the description. We'll put these in the oven with the butternut squash in just a minute. Have you tried these potatoes before, or are they new to you? These squashes were so big, and Trader Joe's sells them by the piece, not the pound. Prep the butternut squash for roasting. Peel the long neck part first, then cut into small to medium-sized pieces about the same size as the sweet potatoes we just cut up, so everything can cook as close to the same time as possible. Spreading the pieces out onto a parchment-lined baking tray. Again, I'm going to spray them lightly with the mix of water and maple syrup. For the bottom half of the squash, the rounder part, I'm just going to cut that in half and scoop out the seeds. You can totally roast the seeds if you want to as well, because they're great for snacking. I'm putting those halves on the same tray as the whole sweet potatoes so they can all roast together. The bake time for the butternut squash is pretty similar to the sweet potatoes, so I'm going to put both trays in the oven together. At one point, I ended up using both ovens just to fit everything in, but really you can just move trays around halfway through if you're using just one oven. When the squash is done, it should be easy to pierce with a fork. That's when you know it's ready. I love how it gets so caramelized, those caramelized edges, and the chewy texture. It's so sweet and delicious. I'm actually going to use the bottom half of the butternut squash later for an ice cream. It's amazing in sweet recipes like that, and you don't need as much added sweetener when you use sweet vegetables in your desserts. And while I'm at it, I'm checking the sweet potatoes too, flipping them over and letting any that need a bit longer to finish baking. They're done when they're soft to the touch and tender all the way through. I know roasting veggies is pretty basic, but honestly, this is one of my favorite ways to meal prep. Just having a few roasted components like this makes it so easy to throw together healthy meals during the week. I hope this helps you too. Would you ever like to do a meal prep with me live stream, and we can all meal prep together one Sunday afternoon and get ourselves ready for the week ahead? Let me know if that's something that would be of interest. I think it would be a lot of fun. Roasted squash, really nice and crispy on the edges, kind of caramelized. That's good. And then we have the Murisaki Japanese sweet potatoes, and they're nice and crispy on the outside too. These add so much texture and a pop of flavor to your salads or bowls, and they're just so good. Really good. So creamy and delicious. Oh my gosh, they're so good. Look at how pretty that color is. It's gorgeous. Not everybody loves the texture of tofu, but there are ways that you can enjoy tofu and get different textures and flavors out of it and really maximize the flavors that you get from the tofu. And one way to do that is to increase the surface area. I'm gonna get a big tray lined with parchment paper so I can spread it out nicely. I'm using super firm tofu here, but you could use extra firm if you just press it out a little bit to get rid of some of the water. But the super firm tofu, you don't need to press or anything. One of my favorite methods is shredding the tofu. Shredding your tofu gives you more surface area, which is more room for the marinades and sauces to soak in. Shred your tofu on a box grater. Use the medium side of the grater. You can grate some on the finer side too. When you use a combination and kind of press it down onto your baking tray with the marinade, it starts to stick together a bit more and forms almost like one cohesive layer once it bakes. Shredding tofu is such a game changer. Smaller pieces brown faster, and you can avoid that rubbery texture that some people don't like. It's chewier and meatier when you bake or pan fry. Shredded tofu develops a surprisingly hearty texture. Excess water evaporates quickly as it cooks, and it's super versatile. I have some of this liquid aminos, which is like the same thing as soy sauce or tamari. You could really use anything. So this is just what I'm using. If you want it to get crispier, you can spread it out a little more. If you want it to kind of come together and be in chunks, you can spread it out less and kind of pat it down to kind of encourage them to come together and stay together. Yeah, so I'm just gonna flavor it up a little bit. I like to do sometimes a little maple syrup, and then I have this miso spray. It's good to like spray on. And then I always like to have a little acid like vinegar, or in this case, I'm going to use some lemon. Lime is really good. All of this is optional. It's whatever you want, you know? You can leave it like this and have it like a lemon pepper. Got a little salt and pepper, and I've got some garlic powder and onion powder. You can season this however you like. Use a little red hot sauce today. I might go in with some tahini today, just a little bit. However you want to flavor it. If you want to make a more bacony flavor, you can do that. If you want to take it more Mexican taco style, you can do that. Whatever seasoning you like, you can do. Now you bake it in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15, 20, 25 minutes. It depends on how crispy you want it. Halfway through, we're going to mix it up a little bit to make sure it cooks evenly everywhere. Oven temps can vary, so check that as well. There we have our tofu, and I made this sort of chewy. You could cook it less time and make it chewier, or cook it more and make it crispy. If you make them chewier, they're really good in sandwiches. There's a crispy piece, and that's really good too if you want and a little extra crunch on like a salad. Tofu, done. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit and make some sun-dried tomato hummus. I've got the chickpeas that we made, and I've been keeping these in the freezer just so they last longer. Some garlic. I'm gonna use a couple of cloves, 2 or 3. I've got the sun-dried tomatoes, and then I have some tahini. I've got some lemons. I probably will use 2, sometimes 3, and then a little salt and some smoked paprika, just a little dash mixed in. Brings out some of the flavors and stuff. It's really nice to get that little bit of smokiness. This is the chickpea cooking liquid called aquafaba. You can adjust the amount of liquid you add depending on how thick or thin you like your hummus to be. And now just pulse a few times and then process until smooth. You may need to stop and scrape down the sides. Soaking your sun-dried tomatoes first can help create a smoother hummus, but I actually liked it like this because it kept some pieces of the sun-dried tomato in there, and the texture was really nice, and the pop of flavor of the sun-dried tomatoes was really nice too. Ooh, this is looking good. Mmm. There's still some little bits of sun-dried tomatoes that didn't quite blend yet. That's okay. That's really nice. And actually, I don't think it needs more tahini or anything, although I have a little bit more on this spoon. So I'll just go ahead and put that in there. I did put in the juice of all 3 of those lemons. They were smaller lemons. So again, adjust it to your taste, but that's perfect. You know, one thing that I might be able to use a tiny bit more of is the smoked paprika. I'm going to take a chance. Just a little tiny, that's like not even a pinch. All right, kind of rustic. Let's see how it is. That's delicious. And it gets better as it sits. The flavors kind of all come together more. I kind of like the thickness. That is really good. And of course, why not some toppings to make it look pretty, but also sun-dried tomatoes got me thinking about fresh basil and oregano. And then, of course, a dash more of the smoked paprika. It paired so well with the sun-dried tomatoes. And when you have hummus, you have to have pita chips. Oh, good. These are the homemade pita chips, so I'm going to show you how to make those too. It's really easy to make homemade pita chips with some of this whole wheat pita bread that I get from Trader Joe's. I love making my own pita chips at home because you can make them however you want. You can make oil-free. You can put whatever else you want on there. Cut each pita into 8 pieces, then split each one of those so you get 16 thin chips out of each pita. I like to toast them plain in the oven at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 5 to 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere because they can burn quickly. You could also spritz them with some oil or lemon juice or even water, whatever you want. You can use a mist spray bottle to do that. And then you can add spices or herbs for extra flavor, whatever you like. Instead of like an avocado toast, you could have this in the morning, ward off the vampires for the rest of the day. It's really good. The other thing I really like to enjoy hummus with is thinly sliced Granny Smith apples. It's just that sweet tart is so perfect. Oh my gosh. In a sandwich, throw in a few leaves of fresh basil. Now you're talking. Since I overcooked the Kabocha squash, I decided to turn it into a soup instead. I haven't made this soup before, so we're just going to wing it. And then I have chickpeas here. These are the ones I made from scratch. Just added some of the roasted Japanese sweet potato that I had. And some veggie broth. Okay, let's start with that. Probably need a little bit more. Then I blended it all until smooth. Wow, that's nice. I also sauteed some onions and garlic with a little dried thyme for extra flavor. And of course, I thought I was recording that, but apparently not. So just imagine me stirring those in at the end. And that's it, a super cozy, creamy Kabocha squash soup. Since I blended the whole soup, I used the entire squash, which included the outside of the squash. And the outside of the squash is like, it has a green skin on it. The color of this soup is a very interesting shade of like mustard yellow and like pea green. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like the new fall winter trending color or something. And of course, obviously, we need some snazzy vegan toppings. I made this quick cheesy parm style crumble with it's a mix of pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, and nutritional yeast with a pinch of salt. Then just a drizzle of maple syrup too, and some cracked black pepper to finish it off. I just love to prep these Ninja Creamies. I always have them on hand. The Ninja Creami comes with like 2 of these pint containers, and I got 4 more. So I can have 6 different ice creams on hand at all time. Now I have the chickpeas that I prepped. I'm gonna go ahead and use that in our ice cream. So I'm gonna go in with about a half a cup. And then butternut squash. This is about a cup. Go in with a date or 2. This is an actually really big date. So I'm gonna do 1 of those, and maybe we'll do 1 more. And taking the pits out, vanilla powder. That's about a half a teaspoon. Pinch of salt. Kind of going for a salted caramel vibe. And then we've got our non-dairy milk. 1.5 cups, 360 mils. Let me know while this is blending what other fall flavors you think would be good in ice cream. Continue to let it blend. You might need to shake your blender a little bit as you go to get it fully blended until you get to this nice, creamy, smooth consistency. That is really delicious. I'm thinking of adding a little organic maple butter for additional flavor. Should I do a little pumpkin spice? I might do it. You can add extra for more pumpkin pie flavor. Now let's blend this together. Check for consistency and taste to make sure it's the level of sweetness you want. Oh, that's good. Pour into your Ninja Creami container. So if you like pudding, you could just stop right here and you'd have a delicious pumpkin-y, butterscotchy type of pudding. It has been 24 hours. We're ready to spin this. Looks like it's going to be good. I like to run some hot water on the sides here, so because it can be icy when you spin it, so that helps to avoid any iciness on the sides. It has a little hump on the top here. Just going to scrape that down so it'll be flat. Otherwise, there could be a problem with the blade going down. And now it's time for the Ninja Creami to do its magic. We're going to use the light ice cream setting because this isn't a high-fat, high-sugar recipe. Let me know where you're watching from. It's a little crumbly, so let's put it back in and do a respin. All right. There are a lot more Ninja Creami recipes just like this on the channel that also use really healthy ingredients. I've got a mint chip, chocolate, vanilla, creamsicle, a lot of different flavors. They're so good. If you want more of a soft serve, 1 more spin. Oh, wow. I'm going to make a little hole. Going to add some toppings. Do some pecan bits and some of this homemade date syrup. Mix in setting. Oh wow, kind of got more of a soft serve vibe now. Moment of truth. Wow, look at that. That looks so good. Shut the front door. You can't tell there are vegetables in here. It's very easy to be plant-based and vegan. It's just making a few staple things throughout the week, kind of like anchors for your meals. I hope you try these recipes out and enjoy them. Mix and match, see what you like. Hopefully I will see you next time. I'd love to know what your favorite recipe is that I shared with you